operations and management of your investment properties will make or break your success. One of the most important decisions you will have to make is, should you self-manage or should you hire a third-party management company? My wife and I have done both, and we currently self-manage our properties. In this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of using third-party management versus using yourself as a manager, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and why you should do it. Stay tuned. For the first time ever in the history of the Tony Stephan Show, we have brought on a special guest, Andrea Stephan. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You hear us from your office?
I do. I hear you.
All the time. We're down here making the beats and making the memories. But we're talking about today, a good question I've received. Should you self-manage your real estate? And I said, to be fair, I don't manage the tenants and, the termites in the toilets. You do. We don't get termites here in Michigan, but you do. So I figured we'll talk about this topic because this is a really important topic. I wish we would have listened to a good podcast like this when we started. So we'll talk about that. We'll go through some pros and cons, right? But first off, let's define what is third-party management or what is property manager, right? Third-party management is essentially contracting a property management company to manage your properties. They'll do it from anywhere from 3, 4, 5%, all the way up to 10, 12, 15% of the gross monthly income. They handle everything. They handle tenants, vacancies, filling the units, repairs, maintenance. Even if you get bigger, they will pay your tax bill, they will pay your utility bills, and they will then just cut out whatever's remaining and they will send that to you once they minus their fees and all that good stuff. That is true passive real estate investing, right? But there's some problems with that, right? There's some problems with that, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, we had third-party management. We ended the relationship with them. We took over our entire real estate portfolio. So we self-manage now 87 units.
We do.
Potentially ready for a 56 unit onboarding. We're in it, right? We're not going back.
Right.
We're not going back. So what we want to do today is create some awareness of the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess, of third-party management so you can make a decision for you. Again, that's what we're about here, okay? If you enjoy our content, be sure to comment, like, subscribe. If you're listening to Apple, iTunes, Spotify, leave us a review because, again, we're using our real-life experiences here. There is no book for what we do. We are kind of like writing the book and documenting so you can learn from our journey. We're not gurus. What did you do before this?
I was a teacher before this.
I was a registered dietitian. So we don't come from anyone in your family, a real estate investor? Nope. No one in my family either. So we've really learned a lot. We're teaching along the way. Let's start off with why I started with third-party management in the beginning. We started investing in real estate in 2020. We were heavily running my online business. When did you quit teaching?
2019.
2019. Oh, really? Okay. Yep. 2019, she quit teaching. She would tell me every day she wants to quit. No, right?
I did. I did say that sometimes.
Like, do I have to go? So you did that, but you did that for a while, right? And when I started my business, you used your teaching to kind of like help support us, right? How much do teachers get paid?
So I was getting my master's degree and I was getting paid $43,000
before taxes.
Before taxes, yes.
So we did that. We built my business. In 2020, we bought our first piece of real estate. We tried to approach it from, we're going to invest and make passive income. Do nothing, put our money there, let someone else manage it. I read the books. That's what they said to do. They said, don't manage real estate if you don't have experience. That's the worst thing you can do, right? All the property managers said, don't do that. So I told myself a limiting belief story that we can't manage the property. We need a property manager. That's a big lesson right there for you guys. Your stories you tell every day you wake up, you tell yourself a story. It's what you either can do or you can't do. It's of limitation or it's of belief. It's of accomplishment or it's of defeat. And we live inside these stories, and I lived inside the story that we can't. How could we figure out how to fill the units? How could we figure out, right? Remember, we would say that. We were like dumbfounded.
Yeah.
We built a multi-million-dollar business from scratch, but how do we put a tenant in a house?
Yeah, maybe I could get my real estate license.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. We lived inside the story, so I got hooked up with an agent who said he worked with investors. Come to find out, he worked with no investors. And he said, my preferred property manager is so-and-so. So we called so-and-so, and he was really cool. He was accomplished. He owned properties. I thought that was a big thing. If you do hire a property manager, make sure they actually own properties. I think it's a big thing. And we started with him, and we just said, okay, you know what? We can't do this, whatever. Come to find out, this guy never even used them. He just found them in a Facebook group and referred them. But that's why I started with property management. We were so inundated with our business, we couldn't fathom taking time out to manage real estate. So I would tell you third-party management is good is if you and your spouse are working a W-2, you have children, you don't have time to do it. Like I went out to dinner last night with Marcel, one of the Freedom Chasers, really cool guy. He's a real estate investor. He's like, I just can't self-manage like you guys do. I've got kids, I've got 2 kids, I've got a W-2, I've got a wife. That makes sense. You have to accept you will use third-party management. That's how we got started with third-party management. So that's how we got started with it. And all was good in the beginning.
It was, yeah.
We were going fast. We were scaling fast. I bought 2 houses. They managed them and they were in such good areas. I mean, they were so easy to manage. Then I bought a duplex. Then we bought a couple duplexes and 4plex. How we work is, how would you explain our role? Like I'm more sales negotiation. You're more
front end. I do a lot of the back end. Yes.
Financials,
correct.
Like tax planning. You know, I'm more of like the vision. She's more like the execution.
Correct.
We didn't plan it to be this way. It just kind of naturally
it just works out.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
When did you start noticing our expenses? The big problem was our expenses were too high.
Correct.
When did you start noticing it?
I would say about a year ago. Some red flags started going.
Can you explain to the people some red flags without disclosing personal information?
Correct. A red flag was saying there was a lot of damage to a property and then they would go in there and fix it. But this amount of time, it was 6 months to turn the unit. And when I say damage, there was a broken window. I mean, it was not destroyed. It was just the tenant did not take care of the property and left a lot of junk in there. So that took 6 months to turn and fill.
6 months. 6 months.
Red flag.
Hong Kong with how many red flags?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And that just continued. It was a long time to turn.
Excuses.
Yes.
Every excuse. Big thing I've learned from being around successful people take responsibility. They own up to their mistakes. 6 months and it was excuse after excuse after excuse. It was never their fault. How fast do you fill units out?
I mean, we're filling them before they're even vacant.
You're turning and filling units.
Yeah. So if it needs a heavier turn, I would say 2 to 3 days it takes. If not, we can turn it in 1 day and have the new tenant in there.
So you think about how much money you're losing in 6 months of vacancy. That unit you're referring to rents for $1,150, right?
Well, I'm not referring to that. That's another one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Right, there were multiple. That one was $1,500 a month.
Yep.
Do 1,500 times 6. That's what we're losing. Plus the utilities that we're paying for people to go in. Plus people, you know what I mean? Plus still paying their management fee.
Correct.
So it started building up. And this is why, guys, you need to inspect what you expect. If you expect a certain return on your money and you're deploying a management company to go run it, you need to inspect it. You need to run their financials and compare it to ours. We always ran our own set of financials.
Correct.
One thing her and I did, and we just kind of both were cut from this cloth, we look at our money every single day, almost like nauseating to the point to where we track every little penny. Hey, what was this $4 on Amazon? Did you do that? Did I do that? No, call Amazon.
I saw you at Tropical Smoothie again.
Yeah.
That's yours.
But awareness precedes change. And so you'd be surprised how many people don't look at their bank accounts. You can't run real estate if you don't look at, you cannot just say, I bought real estate, take the management, handle it all. They could be, robbing from you and they could be running up expenses. So this started happening. So we were running our own reports. We saw that the breaking point was all of a sudden 1 month, they just started holding back way more money. And that's when I said enough's enough. Like they just didn't disperse money just because they didn't want to disperse money. So there was no accountability and then they started holding back money. So something I did learn too, if you are signing with a property management company, you need to do 2 things that I did not do. Profit from my mistakes. I made 2 mistakes. Number 1, don't sign a contract that says you are giving us X amount of time, 1 year, 2 years. In any business, when you hire a team member, if they don't perform, you get rid of them. Like I've never hired a team member in my other business where I said, I'm giving you a 2-year contract. So that's number 1. Don't ever agree to that. If they have that stipulation, find a different management company. Number 2, you must have signing authority on all of your accounts. We had the security deposits there, right? All these things, we did not have signing authority on the accounts. It's your money and it's the tenant's money.
Correct.
Security deposits don't belong to us. They belong to the tenants. We are like fiduciaries that hold that money for them, right? Now, if they destroy the unit, we have the right to take that. Don't ever give someone that much power over your business. It's weird. In no other business would you ever do that, but in property management, it's almost like, well, no, we have the signing authority.
Yeah. I think another red flag too was that you don't really have authority or the management to say who's running your property. So you might be hired in and think Bill's going to be running your property. Well, then he quits and then they hire somebody else. And then you have no idea that they're going to be the one that's managing the property. So that was another big thing for us too, was always the manager was changing. So you never really got a clear picture and they didn't know either what was going on with the property. So I think that's a huge thing too, because again, you wouldn't hire somebody to run your business and then in 2 days be like, oh, they quit, this person's filling in, or just got moved to another property, it's going to be this guy now. So I think that was a big thing for us too.
It all came full circle when we went to a mastermind. So again, that's why you pay money to go learn things. You step outside your little bubble, because that's all we knew was using third-party management. And the guy who's running the mastermind, he built his own property management company. That's where we're going tomorrow to learn how he did it, right? For more coaching. And he was telling me for his, 4,000 units, they turn units in 2 or 3 days. So I was like, oh my God. But then we got introduced to someone who introduced us to Terrence Doyle of Bigger Pockets. Terrence Doyle and I did a podcast, so it's on here, so go listen to it. And he just said something that gave me such an epiphany. He said, property management is almost impossible for smaller portfolios. Smaller meaning you're not in the thousands, right? You're not buying 200, 300. When you buy 200, 300, 400 units, they can support good on-site management. The problem when you buy a 4 unit and a 2 unit and an 8 unit and a 12 unit like Andrea and I were buying, there's not enough money there for the property manager to care. But they take the work because they need to make money. They make money on a volume approach. They know if they get 30 units from you and 40 units from Bob and 50 units from so-and-so, they somehow break money. Property management is high overhead, low profit. So you think about our duplex that makes $3,000 a month, they're making, even call it 10% of that, it's $300.
Right. How
can they really, to their defense, I'm not just knocking property managers, how can you care for $300? Who can you get to do anything for $300 a month? We don't even get our house cleaned for $300 a month. Doggy daycare is not $300 a month.
It's a little more than that.
Yeah, so that's part of the problem. Now, if you bought something that makes $300,000 a month, you can get someone to care.
Right.
So it's almost impossible to build a portfolio on a small level with third-party management. Would you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the things we've noticed from us taking over management. I think immediately the expenses, within 1 month, you were able to cut the expenses in half.
Yeah. I think it's
how?
more.
Tell us how.
I'll tell you how. I think one of the biggest things is maintaining the property. So being proactive instead of reactive when things happen. For example, we went and checked all the sump pumps at one of the properties. They were both broken. So that could cause a huge issue in the future. So not just replacing the sump pumps, but also the flooding it could cause and things like that, damage to the building. So we went ahead and replaced those already. So we did that. Another thing too is just working with the right contractors. I mean, that is huge, just like any team member. So we have a couple of really good contractors in-house. So they always go to if it's something that they can't handle themselves. We also have built a good list of plumbers, of appliance technicians, things like that, so that we just have a really good team around us that can be there, take care of our tenants, giving a little bit more to responsibility to the tenants because they do also live there. So little things too that, again, with third party, we don't know how it was handled. We get called, my light bulb's out. Okay, you can change your light bulb.
They would send someone,
but they would send somebody. So again, the things that are coming in, because that was also starting to concern me, is there so much wrong with these properties that we're just sinking money into repairs? Well, come to find out, once we took care of all of the major things and maintaining the property, there isn't too much going on there with requests. That also too, again, we're helping the tenants too of like troubleshooting with them before sending somebody out.
Yes, which because anytime you send someone out, it's very expensive, right? And they were sending things out that didn't need, because again, they don't have time to investigate it for $300 a month, right? Talk about how little in vacancy we're occurring. I'm blown away. So we bought that 16 unit, and that was the first one we took solely from ourselves upon acquisition. I was nervous because again, the tenants were paying very below market rent. The owner was very hands off. He lived out of state. His sister ran it, right? Great guy, great buildings. Truly, I was like, if this doesn't go well, we may not be able to get through this. I've been blown away with the progress on it. Like, how are you guys, like you and your team, filling these units so quickly? Like, what the heck?
So most of the people are staying, but the ones that were vacant, I mean, so we have somebody moving out in a couple weeks and it's already filled. So one thing too is just always keeping on our list of leads that come in. So we're keeping on the list of leads. And then also too, I have to give a lot of credit to Gabby. So what we've done too is just, again, building relationship with the tenants that live there. Again, giving them a nice experience so that when we're giving them new leases to sign, we're not just like, here's the lease. I mean, we've gone there a couple times and met them, shook their hand, got a lease signed personally by them. If they need help with e-signature, we've gone there and done that with them. So right from the get-go, we worked on building a good professional relationship with them, but letting them know that we care and we're not there just getting leases signed from them. So I think that has gone a really long way. Everyone's been really appreciative of that.
Quality of care
Yeah.
and paying attention to, like we noticed with third party, they wouldn't even know things were vacant, right?
Yeah. When we took over, we walked into a vacant unit.
They didn't even know it was occurring.
Door unlocked. Yeah.
That's all money you're losing, right? You're losing. And again, I think just a big statement is you have to inspect what you expect. So we decided we're in on this now. We treat it like a business. Here's what I've learned. In the beginning, I was treating it like a hobby. I was treating it like investing in stocks, investing in index funds, investing in cryptocurrency. I was just putting it away. Our returns were suffering. We decided it had to be a business. In a business, you manage, you run. Like what business do you start and then just bring in third-party management? I think in order, and correct me if I'm wrong here, in order to self-manage apartments or real estate, if you're watching this, because again, this isn't to say do what we do, it's to give you insights so you can learn to do what's right for you. You need time. It's time intensive.
Yeah.
Now, we're not changing toilets. I can't screw in a light bulb. I can't. I mean, and it's so funny too. We're at this 56 unit and, you know, there's big shop brokers there. There's these guys who have owned hundreds of units and he's talking to me about mechanicals. I just point to her because I say, I don't know it. I'm the sales guy, okay? I'm the negotiator. I'm the talker. I'm the people. And you're a people person, obviously, but boilers, all that. Her and the contractor are in there sifting through it. Know yourself.
Yeah.
She's able to do that. Like if she was clueless too, we probably couldn't do it.
Yeah.
She's good. Dude, our pool wasn't working the other day. She's like, give me a hammer and a flashlight. She goes out there and fix it. I don't know. I can't do those things, you know? And I don't feel less of a man because I don't get my hands dirty.
Like you said, we know our roles.
We know our roles. We know our roles, right? We know our roles. You have to understand it, right? You have to manage people. We don't do toilets and light bulbs, but she manages contractors who do that. You have to be time intensive. You have to be willing to work it as a business, and you have to be customer service. Like very heavy. It's just like you said, people who rent apartments just need to be heard. They want to be treated like people,
right?
Like customers of a business, not as less than.
Correct.
What we've learned, a lot of these because people will be like, why don't owners just raise their rent? Why don't they raise their rents, Andrea?
Yeah. So come to find out at the one that you were talking about, the one we just bought, I mean, I would say more than half their dishwashers aren't working and they haven't worked for 5 years. Or the one, she's like, I've had this water leak for 5 years. You know, we've had a roofing company out there. So we purchased in April. It's June. They're still working on it to figure out the exact issue of why the water is leaking in our apartment. So that's why. They
cut deals. They say, look how much lower of rent you're paying. I'm not fixing that.
Right.
That's sad. That's slumlord.
Yeah.
We spend the money to fix it. And then tenants say thank you. Like one our 7 unit that we were at and filmed at. How many people said thank you for
they loved it. Yeah.
Fixing the things that have never been fixed. That's a slumlord. Those are people you can go comment and say, you're a slumlord. That's slumlord. We don't do that stuff. Okay, guys. So we just shared our perspective of why we chose to self-manage our apartments. Should you self-manage? That's up to you. There's pros. There's cons to it. Again, we use our real life experience. Listen, we're not gurus. We don't have a course to go sell you. We're not trying to pitch you to join our syndication. We are sharing our real life journey of building success and wealth with real estate investing so you can do the same. If you enjoyed the episode, if you're listening to Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review, drop a comment. It helps more people find the episode. If you're on YouTube, smash the thumbs up, smash the like button, drop a comment below. Do you self-manage? Do you not self-manage? If you're not yet owning real estate, what will you do? Was this helpful? Do you have questions for us? Do you have questions for Andrea? Do I suck and you just want to hear Andrea from here on out? Let us know. Leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the episode, I want to give you an offer. I have a book. I wrote it. New Rules to Financial Freedom. How we went from working jobs to building a business and then taking the profits from that business and investing in real estate. Sells for $19 on Amazon. Click the link below. You can get it for absolutely free as a digital download. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, we'll talk soon.
Bye.